freedom for all, justice, just us and them, divided, separated by collars and colors, white, blue, black, white, day, night, me, you, and we. We be free. Locked in the chains of our beliefs, relief comes in waves of truth and lies, disguised as real, surreal, surrounded by the noise of the past, but at last, there is music in the future, homemade sutures stitched together our stories of time, and sometimes they rhyme with nothing at all but the wall that we built to keep ourselves in, without anything holding us back, except some things. And everything is something, or somewhere, or somebody, but nobody really knows, and it shows in our aggressions and transgressions and messes. I digress with regret, and I see the free, released into fear, yet I am near free. So we conclude, afraid that heaven will elude, while the church people raise the roof, which is proof that the truth only frees in degrees. Can I get an amen? While the woman inside tries to save our souls, the soles of our feet carry us up over our mistakes, yet we forsake one another. Sisters and brothers, searching the others for freedom. Freed, the shackled bleed, imprisoned in the mind of every closed heart, because that is where true slavery starts. There, in between poverty and greed, turn our heads, then we won't see freedom. One for all for one, sign the paper so the work is done. Free, freedom, for all. When is the last time you answered the call? We the free, does division have to be? Pulling at each other, insisting to see my ways or highways, and it only leads to the road less traveled right next to me. Yet we want free. Our answers go unquestioned until somebody wonders why the tears have to dry on the pain. And we refrain from the freedom promised and stolen, hidden and swollen egos, and we go unchecked. Because we know how this goes, and we need to be free. But with everyone talking, who is left to do, and the man in the mirror, how will he choose freedom? It rings and rains over houses supreme, everyone searching the land of the free, home of the brave, land where the brave homes were burned down in rage. Yes, we are free to choose, free to lose sight of what really matters, not the chatter of the choices from the voices not free. And we continue to yearn for all the things taught that we never learned. Yes, freedom belongs to you, belongs to me, yet none of us can have it if one of us is not free. Good morning. So, I was thinking about this talk today and Memorial Day and all that means. You know, remembering the people that are fighting for our freedom. And how many people is that? So I started to look it up, and there's 300 plus million people in the US, and there's, I think, about 1.5 million or something, those are round numbers, but of people in the active military. That means 0.5% of the people on our US ground are fighting for the other 99.5% of our freedom, you know, for our freedoms. And that was overwhelming to me. I thought to myself, because most of us are going through, can I take this off?
Yes, you can.
So most of us, we're going through life with freedoms that we don't even realize. We just take for granted. And I don't mean that in an ugly way. I'm just saying, you know, the right to water, the right to speech, all the things that we just do every day without anybody considering what that means. So what is freedom? I mean, the dictionary says it's, you know, our right to think, believe, act, say what we want without getting in trouble for it. But if you're in Ethiopia, freedom would be to go over and turn a faucet on and clean water came out anytime you wanted it. I mean, how often do we think about that? Or if you're an Afghani woman, freedom would be to go to school. We don't think about that. If you're in China, what if a family wants to have children? You have to have permission to have them and then not to have them. And when the government changes their mind, go have some more kids. We're running out of people. Russia, they would probably love to pick up a book that they chose to read. We don't think about that. Ukraine, social media, so many countries. I'm just, some examples of what we consider just how we live. And in another country, how we live is a privilege. So are we free? Are you free? We consider ourselves to be. But if we're free, that means our media is free, right? I mean, if we can say and do what we want, social media can say and do what they want, advertisers can do what they want, TV programs can do what they want, and there is I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but we have to be realistic to think that what we are fed from a very young age isn't always the best thing for us. We need to look a certain way, we need to act a certain way, we need to buy this product and that product to be able to have a full life, right? So how many of us get up and we look at our phone to hear some more bad news? There's a lot of attention I'm not trying to sound ugly about anything, but there's a lot of attention that keeps us addicted to fear and, anger. There's not a lot of attention. There are some outlets for good news, but most of it is trying to remind you, you gotta be scared all the time. They're out to get you all the time. You need to do this, you need to do that. And so if you wake up with that, there's almost no way your day can get much better. And then we become addicted to it because we're going to talk to somebody else. Oh gosh, did you hear the bad news? Oh yes, I heard the bad news. Did you hear the bad news? Yeah, so did you hear this other bad news? Oh my gosh, it's bad news. Wow, I'm scared. Yeah, me too. It's pretty daunting. I mean, it's a lot of information we're fed constantly. And it's digital dopamine. It does feed us. So now we're addicted to it. So we look for more and we, increasingly find more information. Whatever you believe is the truth, I know you can get on Google and find it. Opposing views with plenty of information to tell you just how right you are. So what are you looking for? Are we free? And what am I going to do about it? I started thinking about it, what can we do about it? And I thought to myself, well, I can't really do for you and you can't do for me. So what can I do? So I started to think about the things that I could do that can make a difference in my life, and that if anything resonates with you, great. And I hope it does. Because, Michael Jackson's song, The Man in the Mirror, it really does start with us. It starts with me. If I'm going to be free, I'm not going to go join the 0.5%. I'm not going to join the military to try to keep our freedoms. So what can I do? Because is it my responsibility to give to somebody else? To say, here, you go fix it for me. So I thought, okay, I need to do something that would make a difference. So I really began to think, what can I do? So as we are remembering the people that are out there, the 0.5% that is standing on our borders trying to keep the bad guys away, which is a real threat, what can I do in my little privilege life that I live? So that's the first thing I could do. I can remember that I have privileges. So many privileges that so many people don't have in other countries, but right here in the U.S., there's children that would feel like freedom would be to go have breakfast in their own kitchen. that there was food in the refrigerator. That's a truth. That's a truth. So I can remember that I am privileged, because then I will pay attention to things around me. What's another thing I can do? I can remember to be grateful. And I am. I mean, that's the truth. Michael and I have been through a lot. But no matter what we've been through, everybody in this room has been through terrible, awful things. But here we are, free to gather, free to say what we want, free to believe how we want, and nobody's standing at the door with a machine gun waiting for us to do something wrong. We're free. I'm grateful for that, and that is true. And when we fill our hearts with gratitude, when we have appreciation in our hearts, we can't have anger or hatred in the same space. It doesn't fit. So the more, if you can wake up in the morning and before you grab your phone, just try to list a few things, even if it's one thing, that thank you for this, thank you for this day, thank you for this breath that you just gave me, and I just woke up, and here I am in my bed, thank you for that. Because if you can start your day with that, it's a much better way than to looking like, oh gosh, here comes the bad news again. So keeping gratitude. Another thing I know I can do is just what I'm talking about, my phone. You know, I put my phone on the bed next to me, or the nightstand next to the bed to charge it. It's hard not to just pick it up in the morning. I don't know if anybody else is guilty, but you know, you look, you know, at the phone. So I've tried to make myself not do that. I really have tried to just say no. As soon as I have the thought, I'm going to change my thought to something I appreciate. Before I get out of bed, I want to list, I try to list 5 things, no matter what it is. And she said that I'm a professional accountant, and I am going back and forth from California to Texas. And the other thing that happened when they asked me, when I was going to get this talk ready, I thought to myself, wow, I have a lot of chaos surrounding me. A lot of it. And it was a really big pill to swallow, because who's at the center of that? Me. You know, whose fault is it? Mine. Who can change it? Me. And it's hard for us to do. Because, you know, I've always been that person. I'm going to fix this, I'm going to fix that, I'm going to go here, I'm going to do that, I can do all these things. And I don't openly think it's for my own self-gratification. But, you know, is it? Is it? Am I free? Am I free from whatever past drove me to this point, to where I think that I've got to do and do and do and maybe do some more? That was very hard for me. It was really difficult for me to realize, looking at the man in the mirror, like, wow, that's a big thought. So if I can disconnect from my digital dopamine, maybe I can get addicted to something better. Maybe I can get addicted to the good news. Maybe I can get addicted to gratitude, appreciation. Maybe I can have new thoughts. So that's something I can do to promote freedom. Remembering to go outside. It's such a little thing. But when you have a desk job, I have to remember to go outside. I go to work early, I come home late, I have to go outside. I live on the ocean in California. I mean, it's right there. Thank God, because I can open my window and I can see the ocean. But I can walk outside. I am free to be outside. I am free to breathe free air. And it's such a good thing for us to do, is to connect to nature. That's the real truth of things. Nature is the real truth. That's at the core of who we are, not our phones, not the TV. Remembering that we are all part of the same. We are one. Circle teaches us, reminds us every day. And when we can actually do that, when we can actually remember that we are part of everything. So my freedom is your freedom. My hatred is your hatred. That's a pretty big job for us to do. Just that. Just remembering that what I'm doing to myself, I'm going to do to you. My self-deprecation is yours. Wow. Wake up and think about that. How can I change your day? I can change your day by making mine better. I can help your freedom by freeing myself. We can't actually go and change your life. We can't actually make it better for you, but I can make it better for me. And that makes it better for everybody because we are one. We are all connected no matter what we think. So just remembering that we've got a responsibility just in the fact that we are part of the human race. Remembering that love is not just a silly thing. Love is it really is our superpower. It really is the thing that can change everything. Because if we love one another, there is no way we can hate one another. That is just the truth. Not love. I mean, romantic love is wonderful. It's beautiful. It's fun. But, love. You love your kids. You love your people. There doesn't have to be a law for me to not hurt my grandkids. It's not going to happen because I love them. I don't need a law to tell me not to shoot somebody. I don't want to. I don't need a law to tell me it's bad to, whatever. Whatever would harm, I don't want to. Somebody I love, I don't have the desire to harm. So think about that, even on the whole planet. If we could really love, we really can change things. It does work. And it's like just me, just little old me I can't do. Yeah, I can. Because if I love you, you're going to feel it. If I love you, you're going to know it. And then you're going to go, oh, wow, okay. That's going to change you. And then you're going to love somebody. Love is a superpower. And it sounds cliche and it sounds silly, but it's our greatest hope. It's our greatest hope to change the planet. It's our greatest hope for freedom. It's our greatest hope for each other, for generations, for all that's going to happen next, for all of our kids that we are leaving here, and their kids and their kids. I mean, it's our greatest hope, love. What else do we really have? So if we remember that, these few little things that really can make a difference. If I can remember to disconnect, if I can remember to be grateful, if I can remember to love somebody, if I can remember to smile, if I can remember that I have so much privilege here, then I can be free. And if I can be free, that helps you be free. So let's remember that. Thank you. We're going to take a couple of breaths. You can keep eyes closed, eyes open. Put your feet flat on the ground and cross your legs. Just relax. This is one freedom we can do too. Some people are so wrapped up in how to meditate. Oh, I'm not doing it right. I hear voices. I need all these thoughts running through my head. It's okay. Being still is good for the planet. Be still. There's no wrong way or right way to do this. So let's just take a deep breath and exhale. And then let's take another breath, and let's hold it for a couple of seconds, and then release it slowly. And then we'll take one more deep breath. Hold it for about 4 counts. Then release slowly out of 5 counts. And then just relax your mind. Let's remember that 0.5% that is trying to uphold the freedoms that we so often forget that are ours. Let's remember that 0.5% that is going out of their way to help us keep our freedoms. Let's remember that 0.5% that have lost their lives in helping to uphold the freedoms of our nation. And let's just pause and hold love in our hearts for that, for those people, for all the people helping us keep what we sometimes forget that we have. And in that space, in that pause, let's fill it with appreciation for all the people in the militaries everywhere, trying to do what they believe needs to be done for their country. And in that appreciation, find some love for somebody that you know in the military, somebody that you know that has lost their life, somebody that you know that is still in active duty. Let's send love to them. Send love to our military and to the other countries too. Because anybody that has to fight, it's not an easy job. And as we come back to the now, let's remember to say thank you. Thank you for protection. Thank you for freedom. Thank you to the circle that is doing their part to uphold our freedom to gather and our freedom to speak. And let's remember that today. So now join me back here now. I thank you for letting me exercise my freedom of speech today. I thank Circle for that, and for you online, for these in the room, you guys are free to donate to Circle too. It's a small but mighty circle, and they are doing their part to love this planet. So I thank them, and I thank